Welcome everybody to We Geek Podcast. This is episode 124. My name is Adam. I'm joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
And episode 124, man. It is wintertime. There's not that much news coming out, but we still got some today. What have you been up to, man? How have you been?
Been good. Been working. Same old pretty much.
I imagine work's been crazy. Last time we talked,
oh, God.
we were on the cusp of the Last Jedi. How did that work out?
It was
crazy.
Oh, it was insane. It was insane.
Yeah,
and,
no, I had you in mind the whole time when I was getting popcorn and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, "Ooh, I've got to be nice to everybody, like extra nice. Everyone's doing a good job here."
Yeah, trust me, I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but I imagine pretty much every theater's the same around not just the big releases, but especially around this time of year. Just we get it drilled into us about, we've got to be on our game. We've got to be on it totally. So it's, trust me, if you think you're waiting in line or you've got some kind of concern or something went wrong, nobody's more freaked out about it right now than whoever's on the other side of that register.
Oh yeah,
trust
for sure.
me.
And they were all super cool. Like, I was surprised the guy he's like, I'm the only one that dressed up, and like he wasn't really wearing anything Star Wars, but it was like an alien thing.
Okay,
so,
sure.
Yeah, no, he was totally cool, and I got like the souvenir popcorn tin and drink and all that other stuff.
Yeah, we were gonna try to buy a couple of them, but I mean we sold out of them before we got a chance to. But they were which ones did you get? Did you get all of them or?
The one that I got the souvenir from was from Regal. And it was this tin one, and I got the villains one, I believe. No, maybe I got the Jedi one.
Okay, so
I think I got the one with Luke on it.
Okay, cool. So they had different ones. That's neat that they had different ones at different locations. That's neat.
Yeah. So it's like this real nice tin one that you can probably not put in the washer, but just hand wash, and the cup has one. It's like a cup that you can like reuse. It reminds me of those old 7-Eleven cups.
Yeah. Yeah, but,
you
man.
Can keep.
Yeah, we had, from what I've heard, we had them for Rogue One last year, but we didn't get the cups for them this year. We had tins too, but we had one that was just the poster on two sides, the first poster that they had, and then we had one that was like the character posters for the new three, for Finn, Rey, and Poe. And then we had one that was like orange, and it was totally different than the other two. It really stood out, and it had BB-8 on like 1/3, and a Resistance pilot's helmet on another third, and a Porg on the other third.
Oh, that's cool.
That was one I wanted just because it was so different. Because the other two were all the white and the red and everything, how the posters had been, and then that one just really popped, and I was like, oh, I like that one. That was really neat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They had one of the tins because they had the good guys, the bad guys, and then they had Chewbacca, the droids, and the Porgs. And I was so close to getting that one, but I just wanted the one with Luke on it. I was like, I gotta get that one.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I'm glad to hear that different chains had different stuff. That's awesome. I like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, for sure. We'll talk about The Last Jedi in its own separate episode we're going to record this week. So if you're listening and wondering, where it's at, we're going to get to it. It's just this time of year is super busy for everybody. So we'll get around to that episode this week. Should be up by this weekend. My voice, well, oh man, it's going. So, but I'm on medicine and everything, so I'm getting it before everything goes south. So
nice. Yeah. I'm still kind of kicking through mine, but we've been gone for too long now. We had to record a new one, so we gotta.
Oh yeah.
I got my Gatorade and cough drops, and we shall persevere.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and nothing's gonna stop me from talking about Star Wars either, voice or no voice. I don't even know if we should even give general impressions in this episode, or leave it for that one. But man, we'll talk real for just 2 seconds about how divisive that was. Though.
Yeah, that's something we can definitely talk about. What was it I saw? I think you posted. Nobody hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans.
Yeah, it's true. No, we didn't really see this kind of backlash with The Force Awakens. We saw the critique that, hey, it's just a rehash of Episode 4, which is that's obvious. That was, but this is like you either hate it or love it, and for standing in the middle, you get it from both sides. Well, I can see the problems. I can see the oh man, it's bad.
The thing that I see when I look at all this is it's really simple. You have people who loved it, and then you had people who are the only kinds of people inclined to go on Rotten Tomatoes to give reviews, who are also the ones who were so invested in their fan theories that when it turned out that they were all wrong, and that's not spoilery,
right,
that they just can't let it go. What do you mean it's not anything that we obsessed over for 2 years? How dare you betray us this way? It's the wrong kind of fan ownership of a thing. Because exactly. There is a responsibility to fans of a franchise, whatever the franchise or the property or the game, the comic, whatever. That
right.
Certain things have certain tones, and if you're going to change it, it's really got to be different. The best example that I can think of was when they decided to do Superior Spider-Man a few years ago. That was a huge departure, and that I could see upsetting a lot of people, because Spider-Man is jokey, he's light, he's more fun. Some of the more hated storylines are the ones that are like extra dark. One More Day comes to mind. Like, it's just it's supposed to be kind of the lighter side, and so that Superior was a huge departure, but the way they handled it kind of mollified everything.
Right.
There is. So, I mean, that's what I mean when I say, there is kind of an understanding, and there is a little bit of fan ownership of things, but that fan ownership tends to boil over into, this idea of, no, this isn't what I expected, which means you did it wrong. And that is just flat out stupid. There's no other way to describe that. If that was your attitude coming out of there, if you came out of The Last Jedi and you honestly had the thought of, well, they didn't do what I wanted, so I'm not going to go see another one, good, bye, don't come back. I don't want you.
Exactly. Right, yeah. Like, my critiques of it, if anything, and we won't get too much into it, it would have to be with, like, certain, just certain things that didn't make sense for a movie, I guess. Not like the choices they made with characters, if that makes sense.
They weren't Star Wars critiques, they're more filmmaking critiques.
Exactly.
See,
yes.
That's fair. That's fair.
And they're good and bad, because there's some things in the film we've never seen before that blew me away.
Yeah.
And then there's some scenes where I was like, ooh, this feels a little bit like the prequels, But that's it. It wasn't like, when I saw especially the stuff with Luke, it's like, okay, this is the direction they're going. I'm interested in seeing what it was. And you get into any conversation with someone and they start talking about, well, I don't like that they did this with this. And I'm like, well, that's not a critique of the film. That's just you had it in your mind that they were going to tell you a different answer to that question, or we won't get into spoilers or anything, but there's some, when you think they're making a right turn and they make a left turn, that was just so upsetting to some people, and it really threw them off. And it's, yeah, I think that's crazy. So,
and in the lunatics' defense, I will give them this: there are at least a couple of occasions where they don't turn right or left; they get out and set the car on fire and leave it at the side of the road.
Oh, exactly.
But sometimes that's okay. Sometimes you have to just not everything has 12 billion answers. Not everything in this coming from the guy who rags on the end of Lost all the time.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that, like, we've been through this with J.J. Abrams, and I think there's an argument to be made that it maybe would have. It's hard to tell, because I think some people might have said, well, what if J.J. had this trilogy and Ryan had the next one? Maybe it would be more of a solid idea for all three of the films. I think there's an argument to be said where that might have pleased a lot of people, especially the ones who liked the first one here. But there's also something to be said to having a different person come in and be just creatively different. But now it's odd because JJ's coming back for the third one. So, part of me thinks, well, JJ should have just done this 3, so it would have felt more of like there was a path. But, there's got to be a part of me that thinks that JJ might have liked some of these ideas. Like, oh, that's something I didn't expect, and, that's awesome. Who knows? We might see the third one where JJ's like, oh, that thing they said in the second one, they were lying, or something like that. And that's the thing, is we really should judge, I think. It's hard to say that to someone, like judge a film by the 3, but with this you almost have to, I think. Like, I don't think I'm going to fully have an opinion on this movie until I see it as the trilogy,
That's fair. I can see that. Yeah.
Right. And I could totally understand why someone would be like, well, no, it's one movie, that's how you should judge it. But, the prequels felt different to me once I saw that third one. It was like, okay. Like, I it's weird to say that, but that's just honestly how I feel.
Well, and there's, again, it's because we know this isn't a story technically in and of itself. Like, these are all 3 parts of a larger story. And that's so that's why I think that's a fair criticism in this respect. Usually when you come to movies and then they have a sequel, it's not always planned to be, and there's definitely going to be another one that's going to wrap up things or answer things or do new things. They're not all like that. So most of the time you do judge the film on its own merits, and you could do that here too. I encourage people to do that here too. But bear in mind, it is a piece of this narrative. It is a piece of an intentional narrative.
And right. But at the same time, you have to subscribe to the fact that Disney, in some way, is making this up as they go.
Sure.
Because they did not own this property until George Lucas was like, okay, I'm ready to sell. They looked at his idea, said, no, we have a better one. I'm sure they have a general idea of where they're going, but a lot of it, when Ryan came in, he wrote his own script. He wrote his own stuff. Obviously, something like this is not just him. This is something that has a committee that's attached to it saying, yes, we'll do that, no, we won't do that. Right. And I, for one, applaud some of the decisions they make, because at the end of the day, that's not what's important. I liked how they set up where this is going. I like that there's a lot of things that I couldn't tell you what's going to happen in the next one. I'm glad that it's not following the cookie cut, because it could be the other extreme. If this was J.J. Abrams, they might have given it this all feels like Empire Strikes Back. And I think that some of this movie was a reaction to that, where it was like, you think you know what's happening. I mean, they even see it in the trailer.
This isn't going to go the way you think.
exactly. And I don't know. I enjoyed it. I can see its faults. And we'll talk about it when we have our whole big episode because it's so impossible to talk about without spoiling things.
Right.
But I really enjoyed it. I walked out of the theater thrilled, and it didn't surprise me that a lot of people had issues with it because I had that feeling that, oh, some people are not going to like this, and lo and behold, that's what happened. But man, it just took a direction, or it took it to a level that I didn't, expect.
Yeah.
They're talking about it being worse than the prequels and that and whatever, and I was like, what?
Well, and let me say this about that. That's not the average moviegoer's opinion.
Right.
That's the opinion, and it's been interesting to see. I make fun of people. How I've often I ridicule the Transformers films all the time because regular people go out and see them, and I say, oh well, they can't be trusted. Look at the stuff they go see. But there is an argument to be made there that we tend to forget that for as big as geek culture is anymore, as prevalent as it is, the overwhelming percentage of people who go see Marvel movies or Star Wars or any of this kind of stuff are not geeks. They're not listening to this. They probably don't listen to any podcasts unless it gets super popular. This is the average person who doesn't go on let me tell you a real quick story. And this happened at work the other night where that's one thing that I've noticed being outside of these theaters as they empty out and hearing all the everybody coming out of these things. You can tell the actual geeks from people who just went to a movie to a person almost. The people who were just, oh, we came out to see a movie. We enjoyed it. We liked it. We thought it was really good. And I asked somebody the other night, I said, well, because they were coming out, and just because they happened to look at me when they said it, I said, man, that was really a good movie. And I said, really, I'm glad you thought so, even with all the crap it's getting on Rotten Tomatoes. And this dude who looked about our age looked at me and he said, what's that?
Yeah.
And that's my point. That to me is my point, and that threw me because it really made me think about, we think about Rotten Tomatoes and everything, but how many people look at it and we see it on trailers. Sometimes we see it on some of the marketing stuff that goes out, that airs during NFL games. Oh, this is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. How many people just look at that and all they see is, oh, something said this was good. They don't know or care about all this kind of Metacritic stuff. They're not worried about it. What they worry about is, oh, so and so that I know from work saw this and said it was good.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all they worry about. Or they see it on TV and go, that looks good. And that's the end of the decision-making process.
No, you're right. It's the vocal minority that we see online. And
so I don't see, and people made a big deal about, oh, that it dropped huge, it had a gargantuan second week drop. Yeah, because that whole crowd has seen it. So they all, trust me, they all went to see Jumanji on Christmas and over this past weekend. Believe me, they did.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the bigger the opening weekend, obviously it's going to have a huge drop-off. When there's a big movie starring The Rock that has great reviews come out the next week.
Right, and that's, and again, it goes to show that the overwhelming audience are people who are like, oh, this is Star Wars. I know Star Wars. They don't know it the way we think of it. They don't.
No, not at all.
They don't, they don't geek out over it, but they go, oh yeah, I know Star Wars. The dude with the laser sword, I know Star Wars. And that's fine. I don't, I don't care. I don't want the audience for these things to just be us. That's the exact opposite of what I want, because that's terrible. So,
Right.
bring, and then they went and they saw it. They said, oh, that was really good. And if they go to the movies next week, they don't go, oh, I want to see Star Wars again. They go, oh, I heard that Jumanji movie was pretty good. And they go see that. That's
Right.
that's why that's also why there was such a big drop, because
Hmm.
those aren't the people coming back. They're moving on to what's next. It's
Right.
so I saw a couple of articles. I saw something in Forbes, doom saying because of, oh my god, it dropped
Oh,
$150 million, and I
that
was
guy's articles. Oh my God. Have
I,
you looked at his articles history?
and I looked at the rest of them and I thought, oh yeah,
Oh,
that's right, I recognize this guy.
yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
but I've seen kind of similar things in more trade centric websites about like, oh, it's the most massive drop ever. What does this mean? This is what it means. Everybody went and saw it. A bunch of people who haven't gone and seen it are going to see it this week and next, and that's going to be about the end of that crowd. Because
Yeah.
after that, it's going to be us going back and seeing it again. But
Right. Yeah,
but
it's one of those where you don't want it spoiled, so you're going to be out there first weekend for
yeah,
most people. I'm sorry, not most people, but the geeks, I'm saying.
yeah.
They went out the first weekend, the second weekend, and then it's going to be everyone else after that, I think.
Right. And so, now Jumanji had a big weekend because everybody moved on. I said, okay, what's
Right.
next? That's that's the thing that I think kind of gets lost in this little bubble sometimes, is that we, for as much as we like to pat ourselves on the back for the things that we accomplish and the things that oh, well, people listened to us and they did this thing or they changed this or something happened. We are not the driving force in
Yeah.
any market. Games, maybe, and that's about it.
Right.
There's an argument to be made for comics, and probably comics more than games. I'll be fair, but movies and
Right.
TV, we are not the be all end all. It would hurt if we took our business elsewhere. It would hurt a lot, but at the end of the day, we are not the majority of the market. So, we've got to kind of step back a little and remember that, and just sometimes just chill out, you know?
Oh yeah. 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 It's crazy to me. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun though. There's so much I want to talk about with it, but we'll do its own little episode.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I've got a chance to see it a few times. I don't know. I need to go see other movies though. That's the thing. I want to see, because I do want to talk about at some point like my favorite movies this year. Maybe we'll talk about it today. Who knows? But I want to be able to be like, hey, I saw Coco and all these other movies. Um, but it's just for whatever reason with the Movie Pass, and I'll be like, oh, I want to go see a movie today. Well, Star Wars is playing. I sound like a crazy person,
That's
but no,
fair.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's totally fair. No, mine's just been time.
Yeah.
I just don't have time
Oh yeah,
to go see anything right now. And
that's the other thing. Yeah.
yeah, and it just, it bugs me because there's so much. We finally got the disaster artist in. There was a huge hullabaloo. We were supposed to have it a few weeks ago as part of the limited run, but they pulled
Uh,
it, and everybody was mad. And now it's out wide, or at least wider, and it's in now. And I want to see it so bad, but I do not have enough hours in the day, and
yeah.
it's crazy because nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, you
Nobody.
be in the theater by yourself.
I pretty much, like, on Christmas we had everybody in Star Wars. Jumanji was sold out more than once.
Oh wow.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody went to see Jumanji. Pitch Perfect drew a good crowd. Everything that we've got right now is drawing good numbers. Nobody's going to see The Disaster Artist. There's 50, 60 people in every other movie. There's 40 people still going to see Wonder. There's 6 going to see The Disaster Artist.
Yeah, it's kind of niche though, because
It
I'll
is.
talk to people about it
Yeah.
and they'll be like, I don't know if that's something, I'll watch. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's
Yeah.
yeah,
But I'm
it's
just
hard to compete with The Rock and
yeah,
the Wars and the Stars.
yeah, it's true. But and I want to see Jumanji because it gets another one. Like, I hear everybody coming out of it. That was really fun.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
know, good for them. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
hey, it's got a name that we all know, and it's not really a remake because it's completely different. It seems
Yeah,
like.
it's that weird kind of like spiritual successor kind of a sequel where it's not, it's not a direct sequel, but it's in the same. It's
They could have called it anything else, and people would have been like, "Well, this is Jumanji, the video game."
mm,
Well, I
maybe
guess no, because it didn't have the same concept. It wasn't like they were turning into people.
no. It would have been a whole. It would have been a whole other thing.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know,
Yeah, it's
but
it's weird. It occupies some weird space, but
yeah,
happy for him. You know,
yeah,
happy for him.
yeah, for sure. I'll be seeing that soon. But I did get the. Did I talk about it last time? The art of Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
I think you mentioned it, yeah, but you've had more time to flip through it now. What else did you find?
I don't even think I had it last time because it's been 2 weeks, but maybe I talked about getting it. But man, just like the Force Awakens and Rogue One, it is such an interesting look behind the curtain because it's all the concept art, and maybe there's some left on the cutting room floor that we don't see, but and it opens up with spoiler alerts for the Force Awakens, but the ending of that with Han and everything else, and it shows all the concept art because I guess when that came out, they still did not want that to be completely spoiled. And so they showed all of that in here, and it was really cool, and it's commentary by the artists, and it's not just them though. It had commentary by the director and a whole bunch of other people that were involved in the picture, but it's beautiful to look at. All this is what we thought we'd do with the island. Here's where the idea of the porgs, how they were what like penguins. They were like real creatures on the island, that it was cheaper to just kind of CGI them into these adorable creatures instead of just completely removing them. But then it showed all their concept art for them and all the different colors, and
Do they
they
have
even
a
show
Do they have a secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices to go with them?
no. But they did show a scene where one's playing with the lightsaber and the other one's looking in the other end, and it ignites, and it shows it going through the porg.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't go with that. They got a little, mild spoiler. They got a little dark with the porgs on occasion.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
just a little. But I mean, it was God. It's one of those things where like the whole theater laughed, but it was it was a dark laugh.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. I think they did the porg so beautifully because here we are talking about Last Jedi again, but
yeah.
I thought that was done so beautifully because it could have been Ewoks, it could have been Jar Jar Binks, but it was the perfect level of, hey, well, this is for the kids and everyone else too. They're cute and adorable, but they're gonna walk away wanting the pork stuffed animal
Right.
and the pork Lego set and all of that. So I thought that was perfect for the film. So
They were
but
no,
yeah,
they were definitely like, oh, here's a way to sell merchandise, but it was done really well.
yeah, and I was like, oh well, he hit the window, so that's gonna be on every car.
That's gonna be a cling. Oh my God, is it
Yeah,
gonna be a window cling?
yeah.
Uh,
And, but the artwork though, man, they had Luke in his all sketched up and like all the different versions. Like there's one where he's bald and he has lines on his head, and they were like, yeah, we weren't gonna go with this, but we thought it looked cool, like a monk.
yeah.
And just the caretakers, and I won't get too far into, but like the male caretakers and all this other stuff that I just never saw. And stuff with the Knights of Ren and all the stuff that was just never used. Goes into a lot of detail about a lot of the stuff in Snoke's room and what he's wearing and everything else. And so I don't know. It's if you like art, if you like Star Wars, if you like behind the scenes, if you like commentary, go get that book. Amazon has it for like $20. It's $40 if you get it in the store, but for $20 it's the perfect price.
Nice.
Yeah. So, that was cool. I got my mom the Google Home for Christmas.
Okay.
Do you know what the Google Home is?
Isn't it kind of like the thing for the Echo that Amazon
Yes.
has? It's the same kind
Amazon
of thing.
has the Echo. Yes. Amazon's is geared more towards like you want to buy something off Amazon, you can talk to it.
Right.
You can still ask it questions. It plays Audible for the Echo, which is one of the main reasons why I think a lot of people get the Echo. Because you can say, whatever.
I think it's music.
Music too, yeah, if you have Amazon Music. The Google one thrives in questions way more than Amazon, just because it's been collecting data for, years longer.
True.
But the cool thing about the Google Home is it has like 60 games.
Really?
Oh yeah. You can play blackjack with it. Where like it tells you what cards it has and what cards it dealt you, and you can say hold and hit me and stuff like that. It's interesting. But one of them is Star Wars trivia.
Oh no.
And that was one of the reasons I bought it, because I was like, well, I go there a lot. No. She's been saying forever that she wanted it. It was on sale, and so it was like it's really inexpensive. It's like $25. I thought it was gonna be much more than that, but $25, and you can have something that you can be like, hey Google, how many moons does Jupiter have? And it'll tell you all the moons. Or if you have a Google Chromecast on your TV, you can say, hey Google, play Stranger Things on Netflix, and it plays it.
I wonder if that just happened to you just now. Please email us, because I wanna keep a running tally.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, so we sat and we did Star Wars trivia, which she didn't know any of the answers, but I had a blast with that. Yeah, man, yeah, it has all, and it has like for kids, it has like a Mickey game where Mickey's like, we're on a road trip, and like Mickey's like, should I turn left? Should I turn right? And then the kids scream left. All right, I think I heard you say left. We're gonna take a left. Like it has these cool little games. What's your favorite color? Yellow? That's the color of my shoe. Like it says a bunch of weird stuff. So I was messing around with that. So if you've been thinking about getting a Google Home, they have Star Wars trivia. They have wrestling trivia.
Oh, hello, now we're talking.
Yes, they have wrestling trivia. They didn't know the answers to any of those either. And it like some of them are like basic, I'm the Google voice, but some of these other ones are like, I don't know who the wrestler. We didn't get too much into that one, but with the Star Wars one was like, I am Anthony Camboni from the Star Wars show, and it was like all the sounds and music and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is awesome, but
Nice.
It came out of left field because I didn't realize it had all of that stuff. But yeah, man, yeah. So I don't know. That was my few weeks, just working and seeing Star Wars too many times.
No such thing. No such thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, let's get into the news, because we got some news to talk about. We got some release dates for some Hasbro movies.
Yeah, Hasbro went a little crazy here.
Yeah. Now these aren't connected, right? Like, there's no way.
Okay, the third one probably not. But the first two, yes. The first two are definitely part of their shared universe. The third one, I don't know.
That could go anyway.
It could be in some bizarre fashion. It could be the glue that holds them all together. I don't know. But yeah, so they're rebooting G.I. Joe, which I think is a good choice. And that movie's gonna come out March 27th, 2020. We knew they were working on a Micronauts movie. That's got a release date of October 16th, 2020. And then on July 23rd, 2021, we are going to have another Dungeons and Dragons movie.
All right.
Now,
Dungeons and Dragons could be, if done right, all they gotta do is Stranger Things. That's literally all they have to do is Stranger Things, have a bunch of kids, sit in the 80s or 90s or whatever, and get out the board, get out the whatever, and have their all their characters made up on their sheets and stuff like that, and suddenly they're transported into that world. Or they somehow fall into it and they got to rescue somebody, or just make it the Goonies and Stranger Things with Dungeons and Dragons, or Jumanji maybe, who knows.
I think it's
The Rock in it.
Yeah. Oh God, don't.
Kevin Hart, The Rock, Jack Black. Come on.
Don't joke, man. I'm telling you, don't joke.
Well, I hope it's not, because I think I've seen parts of the Dungeons and Dragon movie. Wasn't it just like, here's a fantasy adventure?
Basically, yeah. And I think that's what they're gonna do again. I think
No.
I think it's just gonna be like, oh, it's just gonna be here's some lore, is what it's. I mean, that's what's gonna be. That's what they did before. It's what they're gonna do again. It's like here's a story from a module. That's gonna be it. I'm with you. I think it's the wrong. I think it's the wrong way to go too. But look how
let's. I mean, think about Dungeons and Dragons. It is one of the. It's before video games. It's where you had to use your imagination, and it was fun to play with your friends. And anytime I see something positive about Dungeons and Dragons in movies and stuff like that, you see the kids playing it, you see them having a good time. The adults, everybody, and I think when it gets that stigma is when it's like it's super high fantasy and stuff like that. And I think if you show people having fun with it, you might actually get people to go, hey, let's get a group of my friends together and play Dungeons and Dragons, because they look like they're having a blast.
Exactly.
And I think that's the way to go, because if you make it just this high fantasy thing, everyone's going to go, well, it's not Lord of the Rings, or, your general crowd, you know what I mean? They're going to think, well, it's not, it's not those movies. But if you made it fun and you showed kids playing it, you might actually have them go out and get a book and start doing it with their friends.
I'm with you, but I don't, I just keep thinking, remember when they made a Battleship movie?
Right, exactly, yeah.
And I don't know how well they learned from that. I don't know. I don't really have any high hopes for that at all.
Yeah. No. It's a shame, because there's so many people that love Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. I mean, it really could be something special, but I don't know, man. That bar is so low.
Yeah, no, I agree. Michael Myers, Nick Castle, is going to be returning for Halloween. What do you think about that?
Get the old band back together. We've got Jamie Lee Curtis. I really like how basically this movie is just going to be a sequel. It's how this is going to be Halloween 2. It's just going to take place all this time later. Oh yeah, they've already talked about, like, this movie is just going to ignore all the sequels.
Yeah, why not?
So it's, you have the original Halloween, and then you'll have this one set however many years later. And I'm all right with that, because they've done so much with it. Like, I have no problem with them. And you can do this with horror movies especially, because they tend to get out of control. Just the idea of, like, just forget all that. Just don't even worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, they do it with Friday the 13th. Like, I think whenever that comes back at some point, it will be just like, hey, it's a guy in a mask with a machete, right? Okay,
well,
that's all you need to know.
Remember, we were supposed to have one, next year? Like, early next year? But
yeah, it was like a prequel or something, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be something like that, and I thought, like, principal photography was I think about to start, and then they canned it.
Yeah, that's right.
There's just not a market for it, I think.
No.
I think you have to. It's got to take time. Let that sit for a while, and then you got to do something. I really don't have an idea on how to bring it back. I wouldn't mind if it just kind of didn't, but right. they're never just gonna let a property lie. So
I'd love a TV show or something for a few seasons where it jumped maybe years after each season,
Yeah.
more like an anthology where like a new group of campers went to the campgrounds and you're in season 2 and so what happened in season 3 and it's someone's cousin that was there before. I don't know. They've done interesting things with these horror genres
Yeah.
on television. Not even just horror really cuz um oh, why did my brain just melt on live here? Oh my goodness. The what was the show called? The Bates Motel. There we go.
Yeah.
With stuff like that, they were able to just carve this super interesting story around something everybody knows,
Right.
or the general idea of it. You could do that with something, I think, with one of these,
Well,
on this night every year it comes back and make it an event. Make it like Netflix where on Friday the 13th every year this comes out and it's this 7-episode series of this year at camp whatever and then jump 10 years for the next one.
yeah, that could totally work. Look at how well. Did you ever watch the Scream TV series?
No, you've
Oh,
told me it was great.
It is so good, and I was floored. I was absolutely floored. I know I've talked about it on here before, but I thought, you know what, I'll try it. What the hell? And they managed to make it work.
There's something to it.
Yeah, because they know that this thing shouldn't work for TV. Like, you can't do a
Right.
slasher movie as a TV series, but they make it work. And they don't drag it. It's only, 10, 12 episodes? Like, they went with the shorter format. And that's perfect. That's the kind of thing that these things really thrive in. And you can really do it this way.
Yeah, yeah. In some ways, Stranger Things is kind of like that.
Agreed.
It's a little bit of horror where there's this creature, there's this whatever, and they build upon it, and you get a sense of the characters aren't just throwaway. And what a change that would be for Friday the 13th.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Because
Where,
the whole point of the movie is you don't care about anybody except the villain.
right.
So why not flip that on its head a little?
Yeah, and like I said, have it connected where, they talk about some of the survivors or some of the people that were murdered in the first season in this one. Like 10 years ago, did you hear about it? And you're like, oh yeah, I remember that character. I don't know. So I'm sure someone's thought of this and I don't know, maybe they didn't think it was lucrative, but we'll see. That's a franchise, like you said, probably should go away for a while and come back when people are more thirsty for it,
Yeah, but I don't know if they ever will be though.
Well, that game came out and people seem to love it.
Well, and there's the thing. That's something that can work that way because they figured out how to do it right. Because it wasn't originally a Friday the 13th game. It was an homage kind of game. It was,
Right.
they were very upfront about, they were influenced by it and everything, but it was not, it was just called like summer camp or something. And it was, it was always asymmetrical multiplayer from the start. It was a bunch of people in a cabin against a psycho killer. And then they got the right blessings and everything and turned it into a Friday the 13th game. And it works because they figured out the balance. It's not just one bad guy and a handful of players. There's more nuance to it than that, and they figured out how to make it work. It's a niche title, for sure. It's definitely not something that's going to appeal to everybody, but it's something that they figured out how to do it right, and that's impressive. And if they could do that as a TV series or something, then more power to them. And I think it would catch. I definitely think it would catch, but it just, I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, and it's number 3 on Greg Miller's top 10 video games of the year this year.
Damn, is it that high? Holy
It'd be
cow.
Legend of Zelda for it.
Oh, man.
The only thing that outbeat it was Horizon Zero Dawn and Super Mario Odyssey. I mean, he opens up with, fuck me, I'm a piece of shit, right? I know. Number 3 for the broken, janky Friday the 13th. So, like, he knows very well how the game has its issues.
Yeah.
But he had such a blast playing that with his friends. It's, to me, like PUBG. Like, is as broken as sometimes it can be, when you're having fun, that does not matter. When things go off the rails sometimes, that's just part of it. That's just fun. It's like going to a concert and you're going to get dirty and you're going to get sweaty, but fuck, you're going to have a blast, I think that's kind of what it is, that you could tell that was the game he would go back to when him and his friends just wanted to have a great time, or it was the game that they would record themselves playing because of just how ridiculous. Anyone listening, if you know Greg Miller, he is loud and he is a character, and he'll voice Jason, he'll creep, because you can hear them coming and you can hear their actual voice, and he'll just start laughing. I'm gonna get you. He gets very animated, and that's what you want with that kind of game, is someone just having a blast with it, and he'd play with his listeners and stuff like that. So there's something to that, and I was shocked when it was that high on his list. But we'll see. Anyway, Halloween.
Yeah.
We're talking about Friday the 13th.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah. What else is there to say? We got some more news. We got Star Trek, Tarantino's Star Trek film gets writer Mark L. Smith, the Reverend, to write it. So I guess it's not Tarantino's film. Well,
it's okay.
It's hard.
It's Tarantino is gonna pitch, and Abrams was putting together a writer's room to hear it, to see who could tackle all the kind of details. It sounds like this. Tarantino
co-write it and produce it, I imagine.
I think Tarantino wants to direct it too.
Ooh, not even JJ?
I think Tarantino wants.
Oh, he's doing Star Wars.
Yeah, but the way that it sounds is like Tarantino had the outline, basically, and to put this in really simple-ish terms, he had the outline. Smith is going to come in and kind of fill in a lot of the bullet points, and then between the pair of them, as it films, they've got the rest of it hashed out.
I almost spit my drink out because I thought about Kevin Smith coming in and writing it with Tarantino, and it blew my mind for a second.
Could you imagine just the idea of any film? I would love to see that. I'd love to see a short that just has the credits written by Kevin Smith, directed by Quentin Tarantino. It would be the most. It would have to be the most insane thing ever made.
To have J.J. Abrams, Simon Pegg, producing. Tarantino, and Kevin Smith in the same room going, let's make a movie. I want a movie about that movie. Just film the meeting. Disaster artist for that.
Oh my god. I think you would just call it The Disaster, probably.
Right. I want that, because they used to, oh man, real fast if I can, one show that I missed is when they would sit down and do dinner for 4, dinner for 5.
Yeah.
And now the WWE does it with dinner for 3, and they'll have wrestlers and they'll talk. They had one with J.J. Abrams, George Lucas, Mark Hamill, and a few other people, and it was interesting because and Kevin Smith. And someone else, I think it was one other random person. I will watch them be super famous.
Yeah, right.
I'm just forgetting them. But it was so interesting seeing them all sit down together and talk. And lo and behold, years later, because at the time they were so I forgot if he had lost out yet or not, but he was talking about Alias and stuff like that. And it's just so interesting that they were all on the same table together. I wish they'd bring something like that back.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to see Kevin Smith and Tarantino. Because those are the two guys, when you think about 90s writing.
They carved so much out of the niche of independent filmmaking in the 90s in some very different ways, but also in some very similar ways, too. They were both dialogue-driven writers. And, I think there's something to be said for Tarantino found more balance with that and the rest of the movie than than Smith did, but it's really interesting to see that two of the most recognizable screenwriters from that era are both really big on dialogue. That's kind of interesting to me.
It was Jason Lee from Mallrats.
Ah, okay.
That
So
was
not
the other
really
guy.
famous. No, okay.
Right. Oh man, but I did love him in Mallrats.
Anyway,
But yeah, out of them all. But yeah, go watch that episode. It's Dinner for Five.
Dinner for Five. Yeah, they did. He was on another one of those at some point. Kevin was. It was, I don't know. It was him.
I don't see why him and Hardwick don't get together and go, look.
Oh my God! Could you imagine the podcast to end all podcasts and just call it that? Just
they're both. Yeah, they're taking over AMC right now.
Yeah.
Why is it not happening?
The scheduling maybe. Like everybody, nobody has time to just sit down and do an hour and a half show of just 4 or 5 people just sitting around a table talking.
That's true. Getting them all together in the same room would be very hard.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem. Like everybody's on press junkets or working. A lot of these people are busy doing the thing they want to do.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Oh man, that would be great to see though.
It really would.
Yeah. We got some Nutcracker news. Joe Johnson, Captain America, taking over for reshoots of the Nutcracker.
Yeah, Lasse Hallstrom, who's directing it, as soon as I saw the headline, I was like, oh my God, Disney threw another director out. But no, this is just he can't make it because of scheduling issues. So they asked Joe to step in, and he said, "Yeah, sure, I'll man these, and then Hallstrom will be back for post production and final edit and all that stuff." So,
how successful do you think a Nutcracker movie is going to be?
Not very.
I have no interest in that.
It's Alice in Wonderland all over again. I
know, but even as a kid, I've always thought, like, how boring is this?
Yeah.
Like, why do adults think children like the Nutcracker?
I don't know, man.
They do, though. They really think they do.
Because, the guard has a colorful uniform and, there's a giant dancing rat king, I guess. I don't know.
I completely forgot there was a rat king until you just said it.
Yeah, right? See? Like, that's, proving your point. But, I don't know.
Yeah, we just live in an age where there's literally anything else that children will get excited for. Minions and Mario and Star Wars and everything else. Nutcracker's just like, okay, it's something that Grandpa cracks his nuts with. I just don't get it. Oh, it's that thing at my grandparents' house you can't touch.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's just odd.
It's one of those. It's one of those things. Like, this has a function. Oh, what's it do? It sits on the shelf. Well, what's it supposed to do? Well, it cracks nuts. Well, then why doesn't it? Because we don't use it. Why not?
Right.
Because you can't. It'll break. So does everything that you use eventually. Like, that's
right.
kind of... That's the nature of things. Eventually they wear out. Right, but this is too nice. You spent $6 on it at Kmart. Like,
right.
It's always the same story.
Mm-hmm. It's like if they made a movie about your grandparents' plates that have designs on them or something.
The nice china. The nice china. It's got its own space. It goes over there. No, we get these out when the Queen comes to visit. That's when we're going to use these plates.
See, I wasn't even thinking about nice china. I was thinking about, well, I guess it's nice to whoever owns it, because like you've seen the ones where it has Star Wars on it, or like NASCAR drivers on it, or
but here's the thing though, collectible plates are
that's
different,
what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, collectible plates were just another thing, another piece of merchandise.
Maybe you don't need all of them though, right? But at least the collectors, they have them right, nice, shiny in their cases.
But I mean, that was they were designed that way. They were designed to not be used. They're
right.
But I mean, that's that's kind of like no,
you're right.
I'm struggling to find an example, but like that's
There's
different.
There's not really anything close to Nutcracker.
that's
you're right.
But it's it's not quite like the decorative towels that go in the guest bathroom that nobody's allowed to use. Like that's different.
Right. Where do you dry your hands? I'm always confused about that.
Yeah.
Like if they don't have a hand towel there and they have these nice towels, I'm gonna wipe them on the nice towels.
They're right.
Or my jeans, I guess.
That's for company. Well, I don't live here. No, but you're family. You don't count.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's get in some TV news.
Yeah.
Crazy is my superpower, from AJ Lee. Her autobiography being turned into a TV series by producers Jeff Fisher and Sam, help me out here?
Sokolow,
yeah. She's going to serve as the writer and executive producer. So so this is a scripted television show they're making.
It seems like it.
Just
I don't know if it's going to be like a drama or like I don't know. There weren't a lot of details available.
When I first saw this, I assumed it was going to be a reality TV show. Like, hey, AJ Lee's and CM Punk are going to be followed with cameras. I would tune in for that.
But they'd hate that. Like, they'd never do that.
I know they would hate that, but that's why I would love it. Sorry, I know that sounds insensitive, but yeah, who would like to be followed around with cameras? That, of course, yeah. But I just, that's interesting to me. I guess I would see a movie about her life, but a show? Like, what were we going to see, like, her teenage years, and then I'm curious how that would work out.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure they've got a plan. I hope they've got a plan.
Maybe it's like, what was that show with the female wrestlers?
Glow?
Glow. Maybe it's about, like, her getting into the industry and just really being obsessed with wrestling and, like, I'm going to do that, and then it's showing her doing that.
Could be.
I'm obviously going to check that out because it's wrestling and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know. I was just interested in seeing a camera follow them around. Because CM Punk's crazy.
Yeah. I wonder how many cameras they'd actually go through on that show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And now more that I think about it, he's not that interesting. I mean, that's kind of is.
I mean, that's the thing, though. They're not a reality show friendly couple. And not just
John Cena is, though.
John Cena, yeah.
He's perfect. I'm almost convinced that John Cena is in on the joke about everything that he's doing when he has a camera around him.
I think a little, maybe. I think that I don't think he tries to.
You don't think he hams it up thinking like this?
I think sometimes. I think there's definitely a showman element to it. Yeah.
I just, for some reason, this is going to sound crazy, but I think he's secretly a genius about that stuff, and that we still haven't seen the real John Cena yet, and that's just a character when he's doing the Bella stuff. But he's probably not. He's probably just super strict, and he has his rules, but there's a part of me thinking that he's laughing on the inside, like, these guys think I'm nuts.
It could be. It really could be. Because, I mean, he's spent how long in the WWE now? It's, 15, 16 years just with WWE. I mean, that doesn't count OVW. It doesn't count his stuff on the West Coast. So, I mean, at what point, and I don't think it's like a crisis of any kind. Like, I don't mean this like in a Jim Carrey way of like, when do you stop being the character? But I think it's just like he knows he's been doing that for so long. Is this a character too? I don't know. It's possible.
He isn't. Like, even, I don't know. Do you have an Instagram?
I do. Yeah. I don't.
Do you follow John Cena on it?
I do, but I don't see a lot of updates from him. But I know it's just like completely random, uncaptioned stuff.
It is so random.
It's just
sometimes hilarious. Like he just posts a picture of Chris Farley, or he'll just post a picture of William Hung for the holidays, or old video games, or just he's been posting a lot of Watchmen stuff.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. What's his face? God, my mind's going blank tonight. I'm so sorry. Dr. Manhattan. He's just done nothing but posting pictures of Dr. Manhattan. So everyone thinks that he might be Dr. Manhattan in the Watchmen TV show from J.J. Abrams.
Oh.
What do you think about that? Let's talk about that for a second. Would you like John Cena as... Because, I mean, obviously Dr. Manhattan's naked the whole time, and he's a blue guy. John Cena has the physique of someone who could be naked the whole time and be comfortable. But do you think he could pull off? I think he could. Do you like when I see the Bella stuff and how he thinks about every word he's about to say, and like it's really odd because I never think about what I'm going to say before I say it. It just comes out like I throw it up, and words don't even make sense. But you can tell the behind the scenes in his head. He everything is calm and calculated, and he'll even say, what I'm about to say is very important. Listen to each and every word. Like, that's how he talks to his fiance in the show. So I could totally see him playing the cool, calm, collective Dr. Manhattan. What do you think?
I could see it. I could see it.
Put all the wrestling, because I know he's a big character in WWE, and he's he is who he is. But when he's on that Bella show, it's scary how close he is to Dr. Manhattan, how he talks. Just if you ever get a chance, I don't know if you watch, he's not really on Total Divas, but if you ever see him in the reality show again, try and pick that up. See if you can see him do that, because it's strange the way he talks to her, how like Dr. Manhattan would. Like, is this a decision that you've come to by your... Like, he doesn't talk like a normal person.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Maybe after the show, I'll send you a clip of that I'm talking about. I'll post it.
It could work, yeah.
I'll post it in our Facebook group. I'll see if I can find a clip where he is talking like Dr. Manhattan, and it's scary how close it was. Because I never thought in a million years, until I started seeing him post a bunch of pictures of it, I was like, could he pull that off? I don't know.
Be interesting.
Yeah. But he's a funny character on Instagram. Yeah, go follow stuff. No caption. I thought I was like, I should do something like that. I like how creative that is. Like, where people are like, what is going through his head? Why is he posting sermon?
The problem with guys like you or me doing that, though, is we're not famous.
Right.
It's just like, oh, this guy just posts random pictures next. Oh wait, John Cena's posting random pictures? What does he mean? Like,
yes, I know. I love that idea. Even if I got one or two of my friends to be like, what? Why did you post a picture of that? Like, what is going on in your life right now where that has popped up? So, and it's everything from kids getting slimed to Good Burger, to just, and some things make sense, when you see someone pass away, he'll post that. But, he'll just, it's so out of the blue. You don't know what conversation he had where that just made him laugh, and so he decided to post it,
Yeah.
But anyway, John Cena. Went from AJ Lee to John Cena. CM Punk is not going to like this show.
No, he's not. Sorry.
Did you see, and just to sidetrack even more, did you see, someone was like, well, what if Dolph Ziggler came out in the CM Punk stuff in Chicago?
They would, oh my god, because that's on tonight, because SmackDown's on tonight. And that's a huge if, then we're going to get a Twitter alert probably before we finish recording. Former WWE superstar Dolph Ziggler found dead in Chicago arena parking lot.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of Dolph Ziggler too much anymore.
I don't know if he's even there tonight, because his promo last week seemed...
He follows a lot of crazy people on Twitter.
Yeah.
A lot of white nationalists and supremacists, and it's a little weird. You start diving into that. When I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, that's odd.
Yeah. But
You know,
you know, uh,
he's a comedian, and I thought maybe he's doing it for the laughs, but I don't know.
yeah, maybe it's a bit. It's a dangerous bit.
Very dangerous.
Just from a PR perspective, I mean, that's kind of a nightmare. But
Yeah. No, it's not your stereotypical, Republican Democrat kind of following. It's a lot of very out there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, oh yeah, it was.
Maybe he's looking for hair coloring tips. I don't know.
Yeah.
His bleach blonde's starting to look a little washy, so I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Man. So yeah. Anyway, I'm excited for the Royal Rumble. That's next month, right?
Yeah.
January.
Yeah. The oh, you asked me too quick. 19th? No. Yes. No. Yes. I don't know.
I have to say, next to WrestleMania, Royal Rumble has to be the best, right?
Yeah. It always has been to me. Just because
sometimes it's even better.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes.
I just love the every now we're gonna have a women's one, which is awesome.
That's so freaking cool.
Oh yeah.
But
I'm curious how they're gonna do the titles. So like, if
it'll be whoever. Well, and here's the thing. It changes. It's changed from year to year. When they did the brand split before, it was if a Raw guy won it, he faced the Raw champ. If SmackDown guy won it, he faced the SmackDown champ. And after a couple of years of that, then it became whoever won got to pick which champ.
I like that.
So I don't know.
I mean, we all assume that it's not going to be a Raw winner, right? Because we know that it's going to be Brock and Roman, unless something drastically changes.
Right. So I mean, so Roman.
I hope Nakamura wins it. Oh, that would be great.
There's two ways that I see the Rumble going. There's the awesome way, which is Nakamura winning,
yeah,
and then him and Styles at WrestleMania. But if that match happens, it won't be the main event, because the other way this could go is for the, what are we now, second year in a row gonna be, we're gonna have Roman. And that's how it's gonna be Roman Lesnar at WrestleMania, because we know it's gonna be Roman Lesnar at Mania,
right?
And maybe
so he's not gonna win it. He's won too many times.
Yeah, because Orton won it last year. That's how we got Orton Wyatt, and that was just nobody saw. But everybody, as soon as the news started, like a day or two before, it was like everybody's saying Randy Orton's gonna win. Right? Who? Why?
Right. Did you see his St. Pete Legend shirt that's been floating around?
No.
Okay, so he is a customized WWE Universal Championship belt.
Okay.
The belt looks like an acid trip.
Oh yeah.
Because the red is like almost like oil spill looking. And it has these weird designs. It looks sick. Someone needs to really give him that belt. And he has a shirt that says St. Pete Legend. I thought that looked awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, man, I really, Nakamura's got to do it. That would get such a pop. Like and to use the wrestling terms, I would mark out just completely if he got that, because he's kind of always been in the it's like they don't know what to do with him, but he's been in the conversation in SmackDown as like the A match, like the top matches and stuff like that.
Right, as part of that top tier. And there has been nothing that's been quite like, they've come close, but in terms of just a moment, you've got to go back to Money in the Bank, where he and Styles stared down in a ring. And
they teased it.
I loved the build to that moment, because they were both on the ladder, and then they both got down, and they both moved the ladder, and then went back to the middle of the ring and just kind of stood there a second. And that crowd started to go absolutely nuts.
Oh, yeah, that's what people want. We've seen the Finn and the AJ, but we want to see Nakamura and AJ.
Well, I mean, they over in New Japan, they tore it up. The rivalry they had there was insane. So good.
I have to imagine Vince's ego is thinking, we can do it better. And I hope they do. That'd be great, you know?
I think Vince's ego is saying Roman can do better, but
Well, they're going to have that anyway. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's not going to be. It's going to be the co-main event or whatever. But
yeah,
it doesn't matter. That's going to be the thing that I think brings down the house.
yeah, yeah, no question. It'll be Styles. If Styles Nakamura is on the WrestleMania card, it will be match of the night, and unless there's an Undertaker return, nothing's going to top it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we all know it's going to. Unless I hope that Vince is like, they think that Roman's going to be the guy who would, I don't know. But then again, I don't want Brock to win either. I don't know. And there's no Money in the Bank anymore, right? Because that was won and done with.
Yeah,
you can't have a secret. What kind of twist can you have with that?
Yeah. No, next year I think that's going to be a shared pay-per-view, though. Instead of it just being one brand like it was this past year.
Oh, it should absolutely be, because that's exciting. Like, does Carmella still have it?
Yep, she's still got Frankie.
Oh yeah, see, I haven't.
Yeah.
I need to watch SmackDown more. I haven't been watching it as much because we usually do this on Tuesdays, and then just throughout the week, I catch some of it.
Yeah.
Usually the main event and stuff like that. But I didn't even see Raw this week. We're getting so off topic. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was good. I liked Raw this week. It opened. You should watch it just for the opening segment, because it's John Cena and Elias.
Yeah.
And it was great. Like that's fantastic. There was actual chemistry there. Like
that's
those
good.
two, like, because I mean, John brings, if you're gonna be in a segment with Cena, you got to bring your A game. And Elias held his own and then some, especially with, you're in Chicago on Christmas and you're John Cena. There is only one thing that crowd is going to chant at you the entire time you're out there.
Oh, yeah. CM Punk.
And it was great because they kept, Elias would start to play and they would start chanting CM Punk. And Elias had two of the best lines of the entire night. Because the first thing he talked about interruptions, and then they started chanting CM Punk, and he said, "Well, I can guarantee you CM Punk is not here to interrupt me." And they booed the hell out of him. But the best thing was just a little bit later, and they started chanting it at him again, and he looked at John and he said, "This is your fault." I just thought, oh man,
that's great. I love how they know.
Like but John, to his credit, say what you will about him in WWE, he has really, especially in the last year, he has really taken on the role of something that arguably he should have been doing for the last handful of years, in saying, "Here I am the bar." Whether we like it or not, it's true. He is the new Rock, the new Austin, the new whatever you want to say, in terms of, here's the measuring stick. If you can't hang in the ring with John, then either you've got to shape up or ship out. Like, that's, that is where the high watermark is. And if you can get out there and hold your own, not just in a match, because that's not terribly difficult. But if you can go out there and hold an audience while you're in a ring with John Cena, you've got something. And Elias really held it. And I was stunned. Like, I was okay on his gimmick. I dug it and everything, but he came out and he brought it. And I hope that there's a lot of backstage talk about that, because he went out there and he held on to that crowd with John Cena in the ring next to him. And
he's got kind of a following now with a lot of people. A lot of people love Elias.
And that's true, but he went, you can have a following and still go out there and choke. Look at
no doubt.
Look at Roman's promos with John. Like, he couldn't hang. Right. He absolutely couldn't hang. But Elias really could, and it impressed the hell out of me. It really did.
Oh, yeah. No, I got to see it. Make sure you check out Kind of Funny. They had a guy by the name of John Carl on December 19th. Go look at their videos.
Okay.
His topic for their show, for the Game Over Greggy show, on their YouTube channel, the Kind of Funny, and he talks about writing for the WWE.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, and I heard him talk about this on whose podcast was it? Some other podcast in San Francisco. But the Comedy Button. But he talks about it on this one as well, and he talks about like meeting Vince McMahon for the first time, and the first time Vince McMahon remembered his name, and just how shivers went down his spine.
Sure.
That like, yeah, like this guy so influential, just now he knows him by his first name, and he talks about the first thing that first meeting Dusty Rhodes, and first not just meeting Dusty Rhodes, but being the writer for, I think he wrote I think it was Ric Flair's retirement or something like that.
Oh.
And he's like sitting there with Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, me, and who's the other guy? The other like main writer for the WWE that's always behind the stage. He was in a tag team. Blonde
Hayes, Michael P.S.
Hayes, that's it. Yeah, Michael Hayes. And he's like, one of those guys are not like the other, and it was just cool. He was talking about him.
Yeah.
sitting in a room writing this legend, and so like it's such an interesting conversation, and they just go into detail about just how crazy it is. And he was like, it was the best 3 years of my life creatively, and writing that many shows, you'll never get that kind of body of work with any other thing.
That's true. That's very
true.
Oh
yeah, and he was just, he was like, there's a lot of stuff I can't talk about, I'll tell you off the air, but he was like, but there was a lot of stuff that was just super interesting, and but yeah, so go check that out, because I think you'd really dig it.
Yeah, definitely will. Sometimes I wish they would let the reins come off some of the talent just a little bit. The biggest heat that Jinder Mahal, I think, has ever gotten that I've seen was the dark match he and AJ had in Charlotte at SmackDown. When he's standing in the corner and he's got a Singh brother on either side standing on like the second rope, and the three of them all two-sweeted. And that crowd would have, oh my God, we'd have torn him apart if we could have. It was, I've never heard heat like that. Let him do that on an episode of SmackDown and watch people lose their minds.
Yeah,
but I mean,
but that's what's crazy about wrestling is usually the most memorable moments are not written. It's something that you hear that they just did, and it's, you hear Vince talk about grabbing the brass ring. That's usually what happens, is that they go outside of their, but people are too scared to be fired.
Yeah, because that's the trade-off. You have to. It's that weird thing of like, you have to break the rules. And
if it's over, then that's great. But if it's not, wow.
Yeah, and it's the thing of, you're going to get punished either way. But if it doesn't work, your punishment is you're probably fired. If it works, your punishment is they tell you shouldn't have done that, bad, shame on you.
You're going to lose to Braun Strowman for a few weeks.
Yeah, right. And then that's pretty much the end of it. But how many things have all been, Austin 316 was not scripted.
Right.
So many, but and again, it's the cycle of, well, there's nobody out there like The Rock and Austin. Well, they have so much limitation put on them anymore that you can't manufacture The Rock and Austin. It has to happen.
Well, that's what this guy talks about. He talks about how when he came in, it was a few weeks after they just wrote Vince McMahon getting blown up in a limousine, and he was on the job for a few months, and they were like, all right, we're not going to do any more of these kind of matches. We're not, the bra and panties match. We're no longer going to do this. We're no longer going to curse. We're no longer going to do that. And he's like, they just started listing off all the things that I loved about wrestling, and it's interesting to listen to him talk about how he was an assistant at first to a writer, so you could not speak up.
Yeah.
And you had to choose your moments. You had to, first of all, be there for a while before you could say anything, even if you had the best idea, or even if you thought, no, this is going to be a train wreck, you still could not speak up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until they started asking him, and like Dusty Rhodes, for example, started saying, well, he said something like, Dusty Rhodes looked at him and said, oh, you're not going to last 3 months. He said, what's his face? The guy who's a big bully?
JBL.
He said JBL put him in his phone as like something like, I'm never gonna remember your name. That was like his contact. And he's like, how long do you think before I have to delete this? Because because you're gonna be gone. And he said like after like a year or two, he's like, oh shit, you're still here. I guess I don't have to delete this today or something like that. He was still a jerk.
Yeah, well, there's a shock.
But yeah. So it's just an interesting peek behind the curtain on how you like how strict they are with writing and everything else, and like all this stuff. Obviously, it's planned out way in advance, but sometimes they have to change on the fly because someone's injured or whatever. I forgot who they talked about. Said got injured, and they had to change it that night.
Well, I mean, look at TLC this past year. I mean, if it wasn't for that bug that went around, we don't get proud dad Kurt Angle standing there with the shield.
Right, exactly. Or Finn and AJ staring each other down.
Right, we don't get that match without all of a sudden, oh my God, what do? We don't have, we don't have Bray Wyatt, so who do we put in here against Finn Balor? And somebody, some brave soul somewhere going, who'd have a really good match with Finn that people would really want to see? AJ Styles. You mean the guy from SmackDown who's, in the middle of like a 4-show international tour for us? Yeah. All right, call him.
I think that was a WWE going, hey, look, man, this has been booked for a while and people have been expecting a good show. We now that we like lost, to them, Roman Reigns is their big guy. So they're like, we've lost a lot of these great talents for this show. How do we give them just something just better than what we were going to anyway? And so that's why we're like, let's just make some of their fantasies come true tonight, with Finn and AJ and whatnot. That whole Too Sweet thing, that's going to be shared for a very long time.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool. And just do the Bullet Club. You just need to do it already. Man. I mean, that would be an interest. They'll never do it, but that would be an interesting thing to go into Mania with Nakamura, and if they put him back on with AJ, and I don't know. Well, do you think we'll get another shakeup before Mania?
No. We'll probably get one after, though.
After Mania?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's how it used to be. Like when they would do the draft, that few years that they did it, it was the night after WrestleMania.
Ah.
And I like the idea now of just let the Mania furor die down, and we'll get our couple debuts and whatever. And I just wonder, do we? My biggest question, because I've got two, and it's the same two I think that everybody has, because contracts are coming due and everything, and we wonder who's re-signing where and all this. Do we see Cody Rhodes at the Royal Rumble? Which we might. I doubt it.
Do you think? Because doesn't he have his own show that he's trying to do with the Young Bucks and everything?
Yeah, but I think that may be before the Rumble. I don't know.
Is it before the Rumble? I thought it was like next year.
Oh God, is it next year? I thought it was just January of this year.
Well, maybe I'm totally.
I don't know. I don't have that one in front of me. But
man, if he came back, they have to make him a star.
Yeah,
he's already a star. Let me rephrase that. He went out and became the biggest star on the planet for wrestling. If he comes back, they better keep him at that level and make him, a contender and eventual Universal Champion, because that guy deserves it.
Oh, totally. He's gone out there and absolutely shown that he can do it.
Well, he talks about, Vince McMahon talks about taking, the brass ring. That's what he did. Like, he went out there and he took it, and he became something without Vince McMahon, and that's something his dad did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and that's something to be proud of. And I think that's something to come back and be a star. And if he came back and they buried him, or they didn't do anything with him, which is what I'm so afraid they're going to be doing with Nakamura. He's got to get that championship soon. That they have to do that if he comes back.
You just can't squander the talent. And here's the thing. I am okay with longer term booking. I don't need, if they bring him back now, they don't have to throw a title on him right away.
Oh, no.
But
No.
Yeah, but
that's not what I meant. I don't mean like now. I mean but have him up there as like the guy. Give him the Intercontinental Championship or something like that, and have him going to eventually maybe be the guy in the WWE.
Yeah,
because it's you got 2 shows now. Put him on SmackDown or Raw. Maybe SmackDown. He'd probably be better on SmackDown. Be seen more.
I don't know. It would be interesting to see him and AJ though.
Yeah, no, he would. There's so many matches I'd want to see him with now because it's just a total different.
Just with that Bullet Club history.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a totally different scene now too than when he left.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. And I mean, the other big question, of course, is do we sign Kenny Omega? And here's the thing. I'm okay if Kenny never comes to WWE.
Right.
I don't think that's going to be a lost thing. And I think some people get too hung up on that. The idea of no, Kenny has to be here. He has to be at WrestleMania. He and Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom 12 in a week or 2? Is it even 2 weeks from now?
Yeah,
they're gonna have one hell of a match. It's gonna be intense. It's gonna be brutal. It's gonna end with Jericho putting over Omega because he's old school and he can see, there's no point to him winning. He gains nothing, and Omega loses all that momentum and everything going forward. But it's going to be, you're going to get a Chris Jericho that we haven't really seen in a long time. Because you put him in front of a crowd in Japan, and it flips a switch for him.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole different ball game over there. So yeah. I'm excited for that. I have not been watching any New Japan really at all. So I don't know. I'm not even excited about any of the other Bullet Club really. I follow a little Ring of Honor and I'll keep tabs on Omega, but I mean that's about it.
Yeah, no, I mean I hear about all these great matches like Okada and all them, and I need to seek that out because I want to see some of these 5-star matches or whatever. But
it's and here's the other thing is these matches are amazing and they won't ever be topped, but there's the toll that it's taking on Omega especially is going to shorten his career. There's no question. I mean it's not just he and Okada had this 60-minute time limit epic. It was fast paced the whole way through. It was high impact the whole way through. And that's you can't do that without doing some serious damage. So that's the price you pay.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, is it worth it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I don't think anybody will have an answer for that except Kenny in 30 years maybe. But,
right.
Between now and then, if you ask him now, I'm sure he'd say if given that the fans enjoyed it that much, it was totally worth it. Because that's that performer's mindset. That idea of I need to give the crowd the best show. He did that, so I would say he would probably say it's worth it. But, you ask him again in 20, 30 years. See what he says.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, they're doing some damage to themselves, for sure.
Yeah.
Would you be open to the idea if they added more championships in WWE?
I don't think you need more.
No?
I don't think so. I don't think every show needs 3 titles. I'm okay with just with a third singles title. I mean,
Right.
we tend to forget that there's 3 on Raw because you have a champion who's never there,
That's the big problem.
which
Oh my gosh.
you know, I will say this. I will say this for Triple H. Yes, he buried talent during his World Heavyweight title run. He buried a ton of talent. There's no way around it. But that title was defended every few weeks, even not at pay-per-views. He and Shelton Benjamin had a drag-out feud that lasted, it was only like 3 weeks. But you got really invested, and it built Shelton up, and then kind of sputtered a little after he moved on from that. But it's kind of that counter argument of, okay, kid, you've got your shot. What are you gonna do with it? And what happens after that? How much of it is backstage politics, and how much of it is actually you just hit a wall? But
Right.
At
least we'll see it with Roman. I mean, that's one takeaway. If we know he's gonna have it, but at least we'll see it every week. It'll be there. It'll be this thing. This might be unattainable by other people, but at least it'll be there.
I would love for them to change something, and suddenly it's not Brock Roman at WrestleMania. I would love for it to be so. Just
what'd you want?
Give me Finn. Finn never got his Universal title rematch. He was the first Universal champ and screwed up his shoulder that same night, had to give up the title, and never got his rematch. Give me that. Give me Finn Balor winning the Royal Rumble, and I'll be happy. And it will...
Oh, this would be just like kind of Daniel Bryan's situation here.
It would freak everybody out, because it would be, especially if you left it like him and Roman at the end or towards the end, and because everybody's going to look at it and go, oh, well, we know Lesnar Roman, okay, fine, and they're going to boo and everything and all that, and then Roman gets eliminated and it's Finn, like that. Are you kidding me? The crowds would go bonkers.
Oh, they'd go nuts. And I fucking love Finn to be the one in that ring with him at the end. It would make it interesting. It would make you wonder what way could it go, It wouldn't be this automatic thing that everyone already knows, that's been written out for how long now.
Yeah.
There'd be a surprise to it. It'd be so much more interesting. And it's not like Roman's never gonna get it, he'll get it, at some point. But
I wonder if the fact that his program with Cena tanked as hard as it did, I wonder if maybe that didn't resonate somewhat with Vince and the higher ups who have clearly been just so completely on board. If that wasn't finally some kind of wake up call.
Well, yeah. You know what? I honestly, truly believe that 2017 for the WWE was the year of Braun Strowman.
It totally was. No, there's no question.
He, to me, deserves to go up against Brock Lesnar for the championship at WrestleMania. And it'd be 2 big guys. It probably wouldn't be that big of a match. But fuck, man, Braun Strowman goes out there and he does these moments that you remember throughout the year where he's thrown in a dumpster, or he's breaking this, or he's tearing this down, he's lifting up the ambulance and tipping it over on somebody, or breaking the door off of it, or going through the ring and whatnot. Like, there's these huge moments, and it's like he's come literally from nothing, from being this guy with Bray Wyatt, this big, dude, to breaking away and naturally becoming, a star and getting over naturally and not this hand-picked guy.
Yeah.
At least that's how it's coming off, because the fans love him. He needs to be given that champ. He needs to eat Brock Lesnar alive, and they didn't pull the trigger, months ago. And I really think that he would be the one to deserve it. Or you could have him feud with Finn later on, But, and if you think about it, I honestly think he did Roman a favor. He put Roman over when a lot of other people couldn't. Because they just worked so well together with those matches. Because
That's true. Yeah.
Roman put on some fantastic matches with him, and he was a part of most of those moments. But it's just a shame that it was because it was like, well, he survived Braun, so now he's going against Brock Lesnar kind of deal.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was the guy that ate him up, and now he's – so it's a shame, and it's a shame they can't see that. I think Triple H would see that and write accordingly, but we got Vince thinking, I'm Brock, he's gonna bring the numbers.
Yeah, but he kind of doesn't anymore.
Yeah,
and that's why they're showing him on a lot more episodes of Raw and everything. He's got to justify that contract that he has. It's the idea of I love Paul Heyman to death, and he's right. He was right about Brock is, he's the attraction. And that's true, but not when you have somebody like Braun Strowman. Because now Braun Strowman is the attraction, because he can dish out what Brock Lesnar can, but he's quicker. He's
so athletic for the man his size.
And I'll tell you what, when there's and you get the commentators get a lot of flack because they sometimes tend to oversell when Braun goes sprinting across the ring and everything, but it's still damn impressive that a guy that size does actually move as quick as he does.
Exactly.
And to talk about the idea of how over he is with the fans, when he showed up in Charlotte on that episode of SmackDown, it was deafening in there.
Oh, I bet.
As soon as because everybody's pointing at Kurt when he came out onto the apron. They're like, "Oh my God, there's Kurt! He's standing there. He's waving to somebody. Who's he waving to?" And you hear that big roar, and that place went nuts. It went absolutely crazy.
Yeah, man, and he's eating it up. And he's good on the mic too. Which is crazy.
He has charisma. He is everything that they want Roman to be.
Exactly.
And I think a little higher up, there may be some at least latent resentment. The idea that they didn't make that. They took Roman and they molded him and they crafted him and they came up with something that fans just out and out rejected. But
you were the chosen one.
Exactly. Exactly. But here comes Braun Strowman, who was just the giant guy behind Bray Wyatt in a black sheep mask.
Yeah.
And he worked and he busted his butt, and he became what they couldn't make Roman Reigns.
And when he tossed that chair at Roman, oh my God! Just little weird moments like that you'll remember,
right? Because you don't see something like that all the time, and everybody just kind of looked and went, "Oh damn! Oh my God! He did that thing!"
Good Lord! Right? Yeah.
The superplex moment has been done and done and done, and that it was cool the first time, and then they were like, and then we're gonna do it again the next week. Like, oh God, please don't.
Right.
Like that kind of thing cheaps it. And he power slammed Kane through the ring. Okay, great. And then what? Well, that kind of went nowhere. Like this whole program he's in with Kane is just going nowhere. Because Kane,
it sucks.
Kane is not the monster that he used to be. He's not. No. I'm sorry. I love Kane to death because he genuinely used to be absolutely terrifying. He was frightening, but he's not that Kane anymore. He's not.
No.
I'm sorry. Everything that happened.
Mayor Kane.
Yeah, exactly. The authority, when we got, Commissioner Kane or whatever the hell he was.
Killed it.
It did. It absolutely ruined it. I'm sorry, but it did. Like that was it. Corporate Kane. That's what it was.
Corporate Kane.
It destroyed it. It absolutely ruined that.
Right. Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's a shame. I want to see Braun in that picture. He's got, oh man, yeah. So the thing is they're just overflowing with talent at this point. That's what's making it so crazy.
Yeah, the brand extension came at a good time because they really do they need two shows for the talent they have. But,
Right.
they still got to tweak Monday Night Raw a little bit. If you're
Do you think Cass? Oh my bad, I mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying if they're still going to have 3 hours for Raw, they've got to do a little bit more with it.
Do you think Big Cass would come back for the Royal Rumble?
Oh, I don't know what his time frame is. It may be a little longer than that.
That would be crazy.
Because of the, I mean, it was an ACL, and those take time. I don't know if he's well and that comes back and that's when he comes back. Excellent. I'm
Imagine
thinking
Enzo alone in the ring after he just somehow knocked out like 3 people, and he's ready, and then Big Cass's music plays.
Yeah,
and he
but
just stares. That would be such a cool moment.
it would. But here's what's interesting, because the whole point of that feud was that Cass was now the bad guy.
Right.
There is nobody in that locker room who's more hated than Enzo Amore right now.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
So if Cass comes back and he's gonna kick Enzo's head off, does that make him a face again?
Do you think people still hate him?
Enzo?
He has to be one of the hardest workers right now. I think.
Yes, but
he puts on one hell of a show on Raw. He puts on one hell of a show on 205 Live. He has brought that division up from being nothing because they didn't know what to do with it to now being like he's the star of that show, and he's bringing up the other people in, or he's only making them better, if that makes sense.
I will grant you that, but there is still the idea of how much of that in-ring character do you have behind the scenes. And,
well, yeah, but does that matter when you are?
Oh yeah, when you're behind.
On,
when you're behind that curtain, it matters.
I think if he had true heat, he would not be the champion right now of 205 Live. He would not, or the cruiserweight. He would not be on TV as much as he is. I think that they would have buried him, and it looked like they started to do that. I don't know. I'm curious. I want to be a fly on the wall because I'm curious if he was like, I fucked up, but I'm ready to put in work and to make the. You know what I mean? Like I imagine back then it was. But I'm curious if now it is.
I think the idea of putting him on 205 Live was to bury him. I think that was the result of the heat and not having Big Cass, and then he just kind of went out there, and here's what I'm talking about. He went out there, and you can tell he kind of just said, "Screw it, I'm gonna do me," and it caught.
He's kind of almost the same person at this point. He's just more of a jerk.
Exactly, and you just
he still has the Gucci and everything else, and everything that you would look at someone and go, "What a pretentious jerk!" But he's owning it, if that makes sense.
Exactly, and you wonder, because there was the video we saw on TMZ where you wonder, was that him in character or was that him? And is he,
Wait, what teams? Oh, when he was out drinking and stuff.
Yeah, and you wonder, like, was he just playing for the mic, or was that him being him, or it's interesting because I don't think we know exactly where he stands anymore.
I think because I know of people who've actually hung out with him on a normal level. Before he was this big WWE star, they say the guy's the nicest dude. He's just a guy from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I do believe it when, he goes out there and he likes the Gucci and he likes all this stuff, because that's probably part of him. But I think he just brings it to another level. You know what I mean? He takes a part of that and he just blows it up as this character.
And that's where you find your best performers. They find that part of themselves and they just crank it.
And he probably just went way overboard in the back of the bus instead of being like, hey man, let's be cool.
Yeah.
And he just went like full freaking jerk. So I don't know. I love Enzo. I hated that they broke him up. I thought that was stupid. They were the best sellers, but hey, you got when you mouth off like that, you got to pay the price, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see them back together and just being jerks together.
I would, dude. If you made them a heel tag team, it would spike.
And Cass would be better with him because Cass is not a good heel by himself.
No, he didn't. I don't think he had enough. He didn't have enough run up with it.
That's true.
And that's not a knee joke. It's just he has. We saw when Enzo was injured, and they stuck Cass kind of in the main event scene for a little while.
Oh yeah.
We saw he can hang. He's got the tools. He just hasn't quite found the image yet. He hasn't found the character, and that's
Well, I mean, personally, I don't know. I think they do good as heels, but I guess there's a part of me that would love Enzo to become really humbled, lose his championship, be down and out, realize the mistakes of his ways, and Cass come back and save him, and they're both good. I know that would be weird because Cass was a bad guy when he left, but it wouldn't be the strangest thing in the WWE.
No, things change, and they can write that off so easily. You
could just say I had a lot of time to think about it and I made a mistake.
Yeah,
I should have never turned on you.
Exactly. Look at what happened to me when I did something stupid, and look how much of my career it cost me. There you go, done, addressed.
Yeah.
Finished.
I would love that. What if he was getting beat up in the ring and Cass came out and saved him for the Royal Rumble? See, there's so many crazy things they could do, but they're not going to do any of that.
No. It would be cool though to see like a Zoe Train beatdown on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
He goes to the Rumble or he's at Mania or whatever and loses the Cruiserweight title, and then the next night he comes out and everybody who's part of the Zoe Train is just beating the crap out of him. And, nobody else on 205 Live is going to come help him. And then here comes Big Cass and they clean house. I'm good with that. I'd like that.
Big Cass, the new Cruiserweight champion.
And you can't teach that.
Man, they need to put them together. I miss Big Cass, man. Oof. Yeah. But he's been quiet. It's been super quiet about him. So I'm wondering if they have. I wonder what they got planned for him.
Well, it's just it's just been rehab. ACL tears are no joke. I think it's what 9 months. I think is the usual turnaround time on that. And that's. Did
you rent the WWE game or did you buy it?
I bought it.
Okay, I'm thinking about buying it because I was gonna get it for the Switch and then came out.
Yeah, evidently the Switchboard is not so good.
So I guess I'll get it now that it's on sale. I think it's like $30 or something. I'm gonna pick it up for the PS4 with all the stuff in it because I want to play some of it. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. So TV news.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's been kind of a short week and. Maybe next week we talk a lot about our kind of like a year in review. We go over a lot of the movies that we saw that we liked. Hopefully by then I see a lot more that you've seen. Thanks to my brother and sister-in-law, I got now 3 more months of Movie Pass.
Nice.
So I'm going to be seeing movies forever, which is great. But yeah, let's get into some other news real fast before we go. Let's see here. We got Titans. First image of Hawk and Dove were released. Alan Richardson and Minka Kelly.
Minka Kelly.
Minka. I'm an idiot. But what did you think of it? It looks like Hawk and Dove.
It does. It looks like a very CW kind of version of it, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I almost got like Watchmen vibes when I saw it. I was like, oh, okay.
A little bit. A little bit, yeah.
Oh. That's cool. Hey man, I want to see this Titans show that comes out. I want to see Robin and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now this news got me excited for a second. I was like, oh, okay, no, it's not like a remake of it. But yeah, Pokemon Crystal is being ported to the 3DS January 26th. It needs to be on the Switch for Christ's sake. I'm so mad. Like I saw, and it's rumors, so take it with a grain of salt. But I saw that like the Italian website for Nintendo or something like that, someone found in their code or whatever, some page or whatnot, that the virtual console is being pushed until fall of next year.
Oh boy.
And it's like, what the fuck is going? If you remember me talking about the virtual console, that was one of the number one reasons I was getting the Switch. And if everyone's been waiting, because we were told that we would know by this time, you know what I mean? Like in the next month or so, everyone's assuming in January we're going to get a direct that explains virtual console.
Yeah.
And because they said it would be next year, 2018, when you start paying the $20 a year and you get the Netflix style service. If they're pushing that, because I'm assuming if it is pushed, it'll be because of how well the Super Nintendo Classic and the NES Classic, and I assume their Nintendo 64 Classic they'll release next year. I would hate if they're delaying it because of that.
Well, if that, I mean, they're gonna make more money off that. So from a business perspective, I understand it. I don't like it.
I want a handheld system. Yeah, I don't like it either.
But I get it.
Yeah, that'd be a shame. I'm hoping, because it sucks telling people like, well, it's supposed to be January, and then when it's not, it's like, oh, I'm sorry you bought a $300 device because of something I told you.
Yeah.
Making me look like an idiot. So it's. But oh man, and that's the crazy thing. It's hard to sell someone on the Switch because it has some amazing games on it, but sometimes it's not enough, because it's like, where's Netflix? Where's their virtual console? They have the best and biggest first party library on the planet, and where are they?
Yeah, I guess.
What do you mean?
Like if that's really gonna hold. If that's going to hold you back from getting a Switch, if you're like, hey, they've got like all these awesome games out for it right now. No. But I want to be able to play my old Super Nintendo games on it. Like, if that's really going to hold you back.
No, don't get me wrong. It's a great video game machine. Okay, so that said, it's a shame that they are missing the mark on something that could make it even greater by leaps and bounds, if that makes sense. Because every other tablet on the planet has Netflix.
Exactly.
You go buy an Android tablet for $30, and it has the ability to play Netflix. Why doesn't the Switch have it?
Because they were focused on making something that plays video games.
Yeah, but it has Hulu.
Okay, well then get Hulu.
That's what I mean, though. It's so silly. It's so silly.
Yeah, and I don't care. Like,
I'm
just so tired of how everything has to be this giant, all-inclusive multimedia platform. And Nintendo came out this year, and they made something, and they said, we're going to make a video game system that plays video games. And they made video games that were good. And I am totally fine with this being, if somebody wants to say, well, it doesn't have Netflix, you've got a phone and a laptop and a tablet.
No, but I don't want to watch it on my phone though. It's oh man, the screen's so much bigger and better.
And the TV
again. I'm not. Maybe I need to correct myself here, because I'm not saying like not to go get a Switch. It is a great system. Go buy a Switch. I'm one of the biggest advocates of it. Like, I think you should go get it, but I'm saying it's these little tiny things where it's like, that sucks. Because everything else has it. It's been a year now. Why? Where is it? It just, I don't know. It's silly little things like that annoy me.
Yeah.
I think it's because when I was wanting to get a Switch, that was, for whatever reason, that was the biggest selling point to me, because I was like, I want those games on the go. I want Super Nintendo games on the go, because I love those classic games, and it sucks that that feature is delayed now for over a year and possibly another year.
Well, that's why Nintendo's got a 2DS XL.
I don't want to carry around my 2DS XL. I don't want anything to do with my 3DS anymore. I have the only thing I have it for now is the last game I played was the Pokemon, the Ultra Sun and Moon or whatnot, but that thing I don't want anymore. I don't want to carry around two things. You know what I mean? I want just my Switch.
I mean, I get it. I hear what you're saying, and I understand it. I just,
It seems so simple. That's why I don't understand why they're not doing it.
Apparently, it's not.
Yeah, yeah. No, I guess nothing is simple with them, you know. But we'll find out soon. What you know? Hopefully there's some announcement if they're if they're gonna do it or not.
Yeah.
Here, you go ahead and take the next one here.
Yeah, so Dissidia Final Fantasy NT has an open beta officially for North America and Europe. It's going to run from January 12th to the 21st. Cool. That's good news. Dragon Ball Fighter Z has an open beta. It's 2 days. It's January 14th through 16th. And it comes out, if I remember right, like the 21st or 23rd or something. So I think this is kind of a like, hey, we're going to have everything in place. Let's get everybody on here so that all the servers will crash and we'll realize, oh my god, we had no idea what we were doing. Because that's always what happens with these things. Every single time.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we've built this infrastructure and go. These are the libraries that are built without taking into account the weight of the books. And I don't understand how many times it has to happen before somebody remembers that they're going to be putting books in a library. Every time, every game that comes out, they're like, and open beta, and then they crash. Oh, we weren't expecting this many players. How thick are you? Just how stupid do you have to be now?
Oh yeah, that's it. I mean that they did that with WoW and everything else.
But it's just it's annoying.
Did you play any of the Monster Hunter beta?
I did not.
Yeah, it was Monster Hunter. Yeah. It was cool. A lot of shit I didn't understand going on the screen.
Yeah, yeah, that would be Monster Hunter for me too.
Why am I collecting all this stuff? And I eventually killed the monster, so I was doing something right. But yeah. Man, that Dragon Ball Z Fighter Z can't come soon enough, and I wish it was on the Switch. Damn it! But yeah,
you said that about WWE too. Be careful what you wish for.
I know. But this seems like it'd be running better.
That's true. It's
2D.
Yeah, it's like that 2.5D kind of fighter. So
right. Yeah. Oh, and this week in sexual harassment.
Yeah. This one is one bugs me, one disappoints me, and one is we've had people come forward about T.J. Miller, which I don't like the profile, but if you were gonna ask me to pick somebody out of a lineup, I'm sorry, it's T.J.
Yeah.
He's been accused of sexually and physically assaulting a woman when he was in college. And there were people that were there around that time who came forward also and said, yeah, this story's true.
Right. And I think his wife is standing by and saying that the woman in question was
trying
I don't know.
Was trying to break them up or something like that.
But a lot of stuff got pulled for him, right?
Yeah, they
Comedy Central.
They tanked a lot of his stuff. And there was another comedian, Lauren Ashley Bishop, who accused Miller of threatening her because she was trying to get a restraining order against her ex, who was apparently a good buddy of TJ's. So that's another one down. This one hurt. Jordan Vogt Roberts, who we've talked about on the show the last few weeks, in conjunction with T.J. Miller, apparently on the set of Mashup on Comedy Central, was accused of kissing adult film star Dana DeArmond after she said no. Apparently they had he had walked her out to her car, and she thought he was really sweet and everything, and he leaned in for a kiss, and she said no, and he said, don't make this weird, and kissed her anyway.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's just...
Fucking A, what the hell?
I mean, this isn't a case of... Like, even if there's ambiguity, it's still wrong, but this is one of the few times where we have a direct case of you got told no, and you did something anyway.
Yeah.
And
Now
then
this one hurt from me.
and
Oof.
then this one because sure, let's just kill 2017 outright. After the release of Bright, and I wanted to do this whole show differently because I wanted to get up on a soapbox in defense of Bright and go to war against all the critics basically, and
I gotta watch it.
I can't do that now. I really can't, because
Yeah.
you know we've heard there has been long running talk about Max Landis's attitude, and he's even to the
Right.
extent that he has addressed it in the sense of
He's
even
talked about himself being
that
an
even
idiot.
he knew he was a rich entitled douchebag.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the flip side of that story is that apparently there's a more, and there's really no other word than evil apparently side to it that includes a lot of alleged sexual assault and abuse, and
Well, the thing is, none of them have really come forward. It's like they're waiting.
because they
Right.
and part of that is because
I think
of
it's going to be a big story, right? Like they're going to come out together and
There's-
talk about it, or
and the reason
I think what I read.
yeah, and the reason for that is in part because of his dad and the clout that John Landis has,
Oh yeah.
and that everybody who's coming forward and kind of dropping hints about this, that here comes this other shoe, is saying like this is the reason nobody's come forward.
Right. Right.
There was an interesting thing though that happened. There was a Christmas Superman special comic. It was a little anthology, came out on the 6th of this month, that was supposed to have included a story that Landis wrote, and it got pulled before the issue even went to print. It wasn't pulled digitally until now though, and and that discrepancy by itself is really weird. But this was at the beginning of the month. DC apparently made the decision to replace it with an old Batman story.
Odd.
So
it's almost that they knew something was going to come out.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing of what do they know that we don't, and you wonder, is this where we are?
Yeah.
There was a tweet by somebody not that long ago, and I don't have it here. And it was a weird little subtweet, which I can't ever follow subtweeting. I just can't. I'm not hardwired for it. But the tweet was, I can't imagine, what was it? I can't imagine anything more scary in a post-Weinstein era than the post-Weinstein era for a famous director's son, or something to that effect. And it was basically one of those things of like, well, now we know who they were talking about.
Right.
And it's coming forward in drips and drabs, and I imagine there's going to be in the near future, I would imagine we're going to have the big piece somewhere. But I'm getting,
it sucks.
I'm getting tired of liking people, because every one of them, every guy in any kind of position of creative control, with any sort of control over somebody's career, whether it's real or it's imagined, is turning out to be an awful person. And I know I'm whining here, and this is a real first world problem, because I'm not living this, and I'm okay with the idea of just scrap all of them and start over. I throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't care. Let's start over and have more female voices, and let's level the playing field. Like the reason this makes me sad isn't because I'm watching heroes fall. It's because I'm seeing just how much pain there is out there, and that's the part that kills me. I don't care that, oh well, now I can't talk about how much I enjoyed Bright because of all this stuff with Max Landis.
Right.
I feel for everybody who's had to suffer, for everybody who's been a victim, and for the fact that that number is just going to keep going up and up and up, and we're never going to know how high it goes in Hollywood. Just how many people did this happen to? Because the answer is probably everybody to some degree.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just it breaks my heart, man. It does.
Yeah.
And we, you know, if we have learned anything from 2017, it's that we have got to do better in 2018. And we said that at the end of 2016 too.
I
And
think this is just the tip of the iceberg, honestly.
I yeah.
It's we're seeing it now because it's celebrities, but I think it's going to be all over the place now. Politicians, I think we're unfortunately just seeing the tip of the iceberg.
If this is what it takes to change all this, I mean, there
Right.
how many stories do we have to see? I mean, we would see stories like this off and on all the time, but it was always one person
Right.
here or there. It was
Right.
and it was always written off. When there were half a dozen people that accused Cosby, nobody batted an eye. Nothing
Right.
really.
No, that's true.
It took until
Well,
that number started to hit double digits before people
look
really paid attention.
look at Tiger Woods. People crucified him, and he just cheated on his wife a bunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, on the spectrum of horrible things, that's a fair point.
And maybe I'm missing something, but I don't remember a story of him saying like he raped anybody or he did. He was a two. He just cheated
Yeah.
a bunch. He didn't. I don't know. Unless there was something I'm completely missing. But
I
look how they roasted him, and you fast forward a few years, and turns out everybody's a creep.
yeah, I would, it's a weird thing to say. I'd rather you give me a choice, and I'm gonna pick the adulterer, which is a
Oh yeah,
bizarre
yeah.
which is a bizarre phrase to have to use to describe,
It's terrible.
which celebrity would you prefer? But
Breaks up families and stuff like that. But there's a little bit. Well, it's very different. I think when you have these people essentially playing casting couch with
yeah,
real lives, it's disgusting.
yeah, and
Um,
I just I can, I hope that
and I think you nailed it with like Boo-hoo, someone that we like. We might not see them write a lot of other things or see their stuff or whatever. That's not the real victim here. You know what I mean?
no,
It's all of these people that were affected and used
exactly,
and thrown
tough.
away. Yeah.
Tough. They shouldn't have a career in anything.
Yeah.
I don't care who they are. I don't care what they were. And I'm with you. I hope that this snowballs. I hope this rolls downhill to everyday workplaces.
Uh,
Because this
yeah.
happens not just in Hollywood or in big office
Yeah.
companies, but this kind of stuff happens at
Well,
fast food places too.
let me ask you. Well, yes, I completely. Yes, this needs to change. But what? How long? Look at someone like Mel Gibson. How long do you think it takes before someone like, oh, help me out, Louis C.K. or someone like that is back? Is it 5 years? Do you think they'll come back? Do you think they even have a chance at their careers again? Someone like Max Lane. Well, I guess Max Lane's a different story because he hasn't said anything, and the people haven't said anything, so we're still kind of waiting. But what I mean, like, is people like Louis C.K., where he did what he did. He jerked off in front of them and stuff. Do you think they even have a chance at a career 5 years later? Well, there's someone like Mel Gibson who literally went just nuts and anti-Semitic and everything else, and now he's back making movies up for awards.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I don't know if
I didn't
some
think about it until just now.
yeah, but
Live here.
I mean
I never
that's
thought about it. Yeah.
it's why I haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge. It's why I'm not gonna go see Daddy's Home. Like I'm not I don't I still look at Mel and I say I don't want
That's
anything
right.
to do
He
with
did
that.
Hacksaw
He did
Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge, and by all
It's a good
accounts,
movie.
that's what I keep hearing. But I'm not gonna see it. I'm not.
No,
I that's and I just I because
no, that's respectable.
I can't normalize that. because I mean the tirade that he went off on
Right.
and everything I just I I can't look back at myself and say, well, you know, it was a long time ago. I know, because if I and you know, I
Right.
mean, that's just me. Like I'm only speaking
No, no.
on my own behalf here, but I just I don't know if I don't know. I guess it's just simply I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if like Louis comes back. I don't know if I don't know. Do we see T.J. Miller in more things? I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, we've you know
I also think there is kind of a spectrum to it. Like,
there
some of them are rapists. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And there's no place in society for any of that.
agreed.
Um, you know, someone like, what was it, Ben Affleck, that slapped someone's ass and was like, "Yeah, I fucked up." Uh, I don't think that his career is going to be ended because of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Um,
no, I understand. No, there is. It is a weird thing to say. Well, you know, we have to deal with this on a case by case basis. I don't think we deal with the consequences on a case
right,
by case basis. I think the consequence is you get to go sit down for a while
right,
and just think about what you did, and then when
right,
you come back, that's what we deal with on a case by case basis.
right.
Some yes, some we will see again. Um,
Yeah,
Somebody like Louis, though, with the kind of things that he did, I don't know, man. I don't think so, and
yeah.
I don't necessarily know if that's a bad thing or not.
No, no, it's not. No, it's crazy. And it's like part of you is like, I hope there's no more victims, but the other part is like, they need to keep coming out.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
they're
it needs to be, because it doesn't need to go away. It doesn't need to be this thing that we forgot about, and then 5 years later you have Mel Gibson making more movies. Um, it's like it needs to kind of be a reminder, if that makes sense. If you
this
know,
this kind of thing needs to be part of your Wikipedia page forever. You know,
right?
sorry,
It's more
but
important
that's
than loot boxes.
yes. Oh my god.
You saw people get vocal about that. It's all over the news. This needs to,
Yeah, yeah. Well, most of the community that got that vocal about that
right.
is part of the problem.
That's true.
Let's
That's
be
true.
fair here.
That's very true. That's
And
very true.
that's the other part of the problem, because this whole thing just boils down to privilege. It boils down
Yeah.
to the idea that you give by, by a wide statistical margin, you give guys a little bit of power and they prove that they can't be trusted with it.
Right. Yeah. No.
I
Exactly.
I look, and I don't at me with any of this. We're not all shut up. Just sit down and shut the hell up.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know, it's done. It's over in terms of our we've proven we can't really do a lot right. So I am okay
Right.
with just this will be me. I'm okay.
Right.
Give me what I'm doing and a little. I don't need to run anything. Don't put me in charge of anything. I know how bad I'd be in charge of anything. I don't want to be shift manager at my pizza place, because I know I'm a bad call. So don't, let me do the grunt work, make me an editor somewhere or something. I'm good with that. I don't want to be in charge. And, you know, having more women and more people from different backgrounds other than dudes who look like us is only good for everything.
Yeah. Well, look at
Like,
Disney. I think Disney is kind of the shining example of that right now. How they're doing with Black Panther, how they're doing with Star Wars and all these female leads. Like, I think they're a studio that's very, proactive with that. They're very forward thinking.
sure,
Um,
let's ask John Lasseter about that.
well, okay.
There's you see what I mean? Like, there's even in the best places, there are people that need to go, and
Well,
that's
oh yeah, no, no, no.
I
I'm
mean, that's
yeah,
my point. Like, it was kind of a snide little trivial aside, I know,
but
but
I think there's a difference when you see someone like Kathy Kennedy in charge, when you're putting women in prominent places.
agreed.
It's, at least I haven't heard anything coming out from the cast of Star Wars or any of this stuff. Like, well, it's I don't know. It just, as an observer, I see that and I'm like, yeah, like, yes, that's, you're putting more, you're not just putting generic white guy in a prominent place. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's what's needed. That's what's going to get the girl out there to want to be a Jedi and a lightsaber and all that other stuff, and instead of just the boys. I don't know. Just as a dumb observer, that's what I see when I see that stuff.
No, I'm right there with you, man. We have, we tend to see that when you give, look at it. I'll give the example of all of this year is Patty Jenkins in Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah.
If you need a bigger mic drop, then here's what can happen when you put women in charge. There you go. It was in a movie system, in a movie universe that had been dominated by the same, not even rotating cast of white dudes in the director's chairs, in the acting chairs, everywhere. They've pretty much all sucked. And the one time they say, okay, we're gonna have a female director and a female lead, and it's a damn good movie. It makes a ton of money, and people loved it. And oh my God, why did that happen? Because they had a different perspective.
Yeah.
And just, look no further. In a year where Marvel and DC dominated the box office in terms of critical acclaim and in receipts and everything else, it's kind of fitting that the story of the year should be Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
To look to and say, here's your example. In 10,000 different ways, let that be that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's why it's so high on my top 10 list for movies this year. Yeah. I fucking loved it, man. It was good.
It really was.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. So next, this is our last show for 2017. I cannot believe we've made it through another year.
Oh, yeah, man. It's been a good year, though, it's been a good year and a bad year.
Look, we've had a lot of good stuff this year. We can't. There's no arguing that, but we have had, in many, many different ways, a lot of bad stuff. Think about everybody we've lost this year too. I know we say it every year, but it seems like every year it gets worse.
Right.
Maybe it's because it's finally getting to people that we knew or that we grew up with or that were important to us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but
yeah, but that's kind of why I like doing this. I like because there's a lot of bad shit in this world right now. A lot of terrible things that are happening. Sometimes it feels like, is it going to be here in a month?
Sometimes you wonder.
Yeah. But that's why I like doing this, because we can escape a little bit and we can talk about wrestling and video games and movies, and we'll talk about serious stuff like we just did. But it's fun to escape, and even if it's just for a few hours, and to talk about this, the silly shit we like, that we are just fucking obsessed with. And I for one love it. That's why, hopefully, yeah, I think the next episode, well, we're gonna do a Star Wars one this weekend. We're gonna knock that out. It's gonna be one that's might not be 2 hours. Who knows? Could be 8 hours. Just kidding. but we're gonna dissect that film. And then next week we'll come back and we'll talk about 2017. We'll talk about the year that was, and our favorite movies and games, and not in like an organized manner. We're just gonna kind of tell you what we like. And then we'll talk about what we're looking forward to maybe in 2018. So, I think that'll be good. But
sounds like a plan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But in the meantime, make sure you go to our Twitter at We Geek Podcast, at The Logan Witt, at Adam Estep. Go give us a review on iTunes. Make sure you go to our Facebook group, We Geek Podcast, of course. And till next year.
And hang on. Let me stop you for a second, because don't forget we are on YouTube. We've got links up on Twitter and in our Facebook group, because we don't have, until we hit, I think it's 100 subscribers, we can't get like a custom URL. So
okay.
Help us get to that. All of our back episodes are up on YouTube in one handy, easy to navigate playlist. The videos page is a mess. Sorry about that, but the best I could with it. But they are all there. There's 2 playlists up there, one for the most current ones and then one for all of our back episodes. So yeah, I will start plugging the like, share, and subscribe bit. I know it's a drinking game tagline anymore, but it
smash
helps.
that button.
But it does help, and it'll help us get to something other than being youtube.com/ insert gobbledygook here.
But, yeah, we got to put a merch link in the bio.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
We got to get all those YouTuber phrases going.
I know, right? Oh,
yeah.
But that's what I want us to work on next year. I know we started a little bit this year, but we need to have more than just this up there now. If we're gonna be interesting, we should have more content.
We should, man. I've been wanting to talk about this comic that I've been reading. Have you heard Paper Girls?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god, it's so good. I'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
It'll be a part of the year in review. Because I'm almost done with volume 1, and it's so fucking good. Oh, it's so good. It's about these paper girls, but then like some weird shit's happening. You don't know. I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything, but like some weird shit goes down, and it's about these girls who they throw the papers. Anyway, it's really good. It's obviously going to be a TV show or a movie down the road, but it's so good. Brian K. Vaughan.
Oh, I'm in. That's all you had to say. That's it.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
Nice.
Oh, and it's like Halloween night, and oh man. Anyway, so we will talk about that next week, and yeah, it will be a new year. Anything else?
No, I think we got it.
All right, Captain.
Captain.